Honestly, bro, I've seen the way that you call plays on Madden. I don't know why the Denver Broncos didn't give you a buzz to come and coach the team. I mean, the no running, constantly running crossing routes, easy to defend passing game. I mean, why wouldn't the Broncos want that on the
I
sideline? You
mean,
know what I'm saying? Like,
once again, I've told you this in the past. I'm 7-time Super Bowl winner on Madden. Uh, what's
on
it
level
called?
pro or what?
Uh, well, we don't need to discuss level. I trade my draft picks away, which the Broncos are already doing anyway. So, like,
Get them out.
yeah,
Yeah, players or coaches, just get them out.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't see why not.
well, I'm after what happened this last year, I'm kind of learning to level expectations from now on with pretty much everything. But what are your thoughts on Sean Payton?
I mean, I thought it was a great hire. I mean, I know it took a while to get to this point, right? But to me, you got a coach that's going to come in day one and set expectations, right? Nathaniel Hackett, whether it was the whole maybe Aaron Rodgers, he comes here, Aaron Rodgers is going to follow him type of thing. Everybody said that wasn't the case. Nathaniel Hackett was going to be this offensive guru, but it certainly kind of played like that. And I think, first year head coach, new superstar quarterback that's not Aaron Rodgers, like expectations were super high and how you manage all that. And I think with Sean Payne, he's been there before, Super Bowl winning coach, has played with a franchise quarterback, and he's going to come in straight day one and set that expectation. And, I don't know if you saw any of the press conference today or if you even have read anything today or in the past week or so.
Yeah, I watched it all.
A big thing that I took right away from it was, Russell Wilson had his team in what is it, the Broncos headquarters, right? Like his own personal team there, and had his quarterback. Yeah, and Sean Payne already has nixed that, and he said, hey, like, whoever I hire, whoever my personnel is going to be, he's going to be in the building. Like, we're not going to have any outside presence here. Like, which I think it's great.
Absolutely.
You're adding extra noise to
Right.
Russell Wilson's ear. Yes, they're their guys, but that's not what they're saying this, but Broncos are saying
Right.
this. Like,
They're not team guys, and like if you want to work out with your guys off facility, like in the off season or even during the season, that's fine. Obviously, nobody has any control over that, but in the building, that's totally unprofessional. Like,
Yeah.
so it was kind of the similar situation that we saw with Tom Brady and his personal, was it a trainer or whatever it was,
Yeah.
who would come into the facility. So, um, yeah, I mean, I listen. Sean Payton's obviously going to get a couple of years. I mean, regardless of how the team does, I think that's one thing. I mean, we know at least he's going to be around for 2 or 3 years. He does, when you watch him speak, he does give a sense of like stability, and just kind of you can just sense the leadership right away, and leadership matters with everything. So that'll be a nice change. I think he's going to put together some all-star assistants. I think everybody knows that. I will say I can't wait to see what kind of J's he's rocking. We're in the orange now.
Yep.
He's going to have some custom-made 11s, I'm guessing, but boy, looks good in orange, so we do like that. And yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if any coach is worth a first-round draft pick. I know you would disagree, but I think the new owners. I will say this: it's clear that the new owners are going to be successful because they will not spare any expense. Which is, I mean, that's all you want as a fan from the owner, right? It's why the Rockies have
Yep.
never been successful because they have a budget. And especially in the MLB, you can't have a budget. But these
Well, I don't know
new owners, go ahead,
if you
brother.
saw the other day, like the Rockies owner said, like at a luncheon, he's like, oh
Yeah, he
yeah, like
thinks
we're
there
gonna
should be
play
a cap.
500 ball.
Yeah.
No, he's like, we're gonna play 500 ball. Like like that shouldn't be an expectation to play subpar baseball.
Right.
Like you're like
Right. And these owners, for the Broncos, the Walton Penner Group, they're going to do what it takes to be successful, and you like to see that as a fan. So I am liking what I'm seeing from the new ownership. And listen, these guys told George Payton, they said, we don't care what you have to do to get Sean Payton. You either get him or we're going to find somebody that will. And George Payton said, okay, well, I may have to ship away a first and a second. And they're like, get Sean Payton in the building. And so that's what happened. I think
as a fan though, were you nervous at any point in time in this? Like you were hearing Harbaugh's name and the defensive coordinator for San Fran, and At any point where you're kind of wondering where this was going, because like there wasn't a lot of noise for a little bit. It kind of like just was still.
I wanted a guy who had done it before, so I was okay with Jim Harbaugh. And here's the thing about Jim Harbaugh is he doesn't always it's not always the most exciting football to watch, but his teams, whether it's in the NFL or whether it's in college, his teams most of the time dominate the line of scrimmage, and I'm all about that. So again, it's not always the prettiest football to watch. It's not always the most exciting, but this is still a game that's won in the trenches. And so I would have been okay with Jim Harbaugh. I think D'Amico Ryans is going to do well. I don't know if it'll be in Houston because they have all sorts of issues over in Houston, but I think he'll get a chance again somewhere down the line. I think he's going to be a good coach. So I think that was a good hire by Houston. Hopefully they give him longer than a year. What a joke they have going on over there.
Yeah.
But in terms of Sean Payton with Russell Wilson, I mean, he's going to help a little bit, but somebody on Woke Take the other day, Woke Take being First Take on ESPN, somebody on Woke Take the other day, it wasn't Stephen A., it was a guest they had on, but he said something that I agreed with. He says that, I wish I could remember who it was. He said that Sean Payton will definitely help Russell Wilson just in terms of looks and where to go with the football and getting rid of it quickly. But Russell Wilson's elite days are behind him.
Yeah.
His elite quarterback play it's behind him. I mean, that doesn't mean he can't be a winner still, and that doesn't even mean that the team can't win a Super Bowl at some point. There have been non-elite quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, but we're going to have to defend and we're going to have to run. We're going to have to run the football. So if we could get a healthy Javonte Williams, and I would say other than maybe one guy on the offensive line, that one guy being Garrett Bowles, I think he needs to move to the right side and at right tackle, and I think the whole offensive line needs to be redone. We have issues big time on the offensive line. So, I mean, no matter who the coach or the quarterback is, if you have issues there, you're not going to have a successful football team.
Amen.
So,
yeah. I mean, you make a great point on Russell Wilson. Like those days are behind him. We're not saying that he can't make those plays or can't do some of the things he does, but you're not asking him to do it every single play anymore.
No, he's not going to be an all-pro quarterback. So it's it's the way it's going to be. I did see that Sean Payton says that he's been working out with Drew Brees a little bit in his off time. So I mean, we'll see if that can do anything. But it can't be any worse than it was last year, which is just crazy to say when we were talking about our expectations going into last season. We're talking about being a playoff team and a contender, and boy, was that not the case. And it's not all Nathaniel Hackett's fault. I mean, coaches get a bad rap. We all know that. He was definitely in over his head. Nobody's arguing that as well, but you can't just throw it all on the coach. I mean, again, we have issues on the line. Yeah, issues on the line. We couldn't run the football. Melvin Gordon couldn't hang on to the football. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely think Sean Payton will be able to get the ball out of his hand and draw up plays to where he cannot keep him out of harm's way. You know what I mean? But I see a lot going on with Russell right now that concerns me. No matter who the coach is, he's got. There were times this last year watching him with his happy feet in the pocket. I felt like I was watching Tim Tebow, except without winning. So he was getting such happy feet in the pocket sometimes, which causes you to rush throws. It also causes you to not only rush throws but be inaccurate on those throws because you're not planting you're not getting your feet set. Your weight isn't shifting the way it's supposed to on your throws. You're just kind of flinging it with your arm, and that leads to inaccuracy. So we'll see. It can't be any worse. So I'm curious to see who the defensive coordinator is going to be because we still have a lot of talent on the defensive side. So, I'm looking forward to Sean Payton being the coach. So.
What a time for football in Colorado. Sean Payton now, a Bronco, Deion Sanders with the Buffs. Like,
love that.
You know what I mean? Like,
love that.
What a time for Colorado football.
I mean, love that. You can't. I mean, you couldn't pick a more perfect guy to come into a school that's just been in the dumps the last decade in terms of football. And this is a school that has a lot of tradition on the
Mm-hmm.
gridiron. Okay, they have a national championship under their belt, and they've had countless pros. They've had a Heisman Trophy winner. Um, Rest in peace. And you talk about immediately making an impact too with the transfer portal and the recruiting class he has coming in. I wouldn't expect them to see. Wouldn't expect. I would expect to see them have a winning record this first year, and then the year after, I'm expecting them to contend for the Pac-12. That's the kind of impact he's making right now.
Remember we just talking about expectations, though.
I know, but I mean,
Yeah, I know. I know. You're
it's a
saying that.
little. You can expect be a little more realistic at the college level,
Yeah.
right? At the NFL, these guys are all in the same. They're all
Yeah.
even. You know what I mean? Like there's not that much difference between between most guys. So CU is going to be fun. It is. It's going to be fun to watch, and games are going to be live. With Prime on the sideline now, so that'll be cool. Hope to catch a game or two. But I want to I want to ask you is because we've talked a lot of, we've talked about him a lot, and I want your take. Is this retirement? Is this one for real?
I think so.
I think it is too.
It sounded more in his voice this time. Like
Yeah.
it kind of just like hit him.
Yeah.
And when you lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs, I mean, like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
It was almost like
he didn't want to face Dak anymore.
Yeah.
So like he was done.
Well, that's ridiculous, but I mean, not totally untrue. But I think, honestly, I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to be like Brett Favre and do this like 3 or 4 times. I think this one, he did it the first time, and he was like, you know what, I'm not ready to be done. And I think just with everything that happened to him this last year, even though he doesn't have the wife anymore, I think it's just like he's just like Michael Jordan was at the end of his career, dude. He's done. He's like I'm done with this. You know what I mean? It's not even about a question about like whether he can play or not. He can still play, no question about it. But he's also got 350 million reasons to retire as well once he starts his broadcasting job. So that I saw he's going to take a year off though, and then he's going to start in 2024 with Fox. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that.
It's not going to be right away. He's going to, which again, I can't blame him. He's going to just chill this whole next year, probably play a lot of golf, and then in 2024 he's going to start. Yeah, 335 million a year for 10 years. That'll get you off the field, and I don't have to get hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Just watch football and just chill. Like,
yeah, get me his agent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, this one I think is for real. I know a lot of people that are like, no, he's not done. He still can play. I'm like, yeah, he can still play, but the dude's 45. I mean, again, I'm going based on what I saw. You know what I mean? And what I saw is exactly what you said. It seemed like this one was for real.
The year before, like, I mean, he had an amazing season, MVP type of season, right? And coming into this year, I mean, a lot of injuries on the Bucs side, and things happened, and like he didn't look quite the same. Obviously, he still balled out, especially at his age, But like even then, I think you kind of just tell, like, all right, like this isn't going to go on for much longer. Like, at one point, and I mean, obviously, any athlete would tell you, right? And we know, like, at one point, are we chasing championships, and we're going to be at that championship level, like, or are we just playing to play at this point? And
right.
Tom Brady, he's a competitor, right? He wants to win, and I think he kind of realizes too, like, the Bucs windows are slowing down. Like, he's going to have to jump to another team to compete. Yeah. Does he really want to do that and mesh over there? Like,
that's exactly right.
7 rings. Like,
it's a whole process, changing towns and whatnot. You know what I mean? And it's not like the NBA where these guys they travel all the time. They're home pretty much all year except for when they go on the road for a game. But after the game's over, they fly back home, even if they're playing on the road again next week. So
yep.
Yeah, I mean it's a process. It's a whole process when you move teams in the NFL. So I think this one's for real, and it's a bummer because I would like to see him keep playing, but I can't blame the man either. He's getting out relatively unharmed too. I mean, he had a serious knee injury for 1 year. Other than that, I mean, he's getting out he's getting out. You know what I mean? So, good for him.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get that 350 mil.
Like I said, I mean, we talked about this before too. Like with the Patriots, I know the whole Patriots thing and stuff like that. You kind of just hated the guy, but like when he went to Tampa, he just became more likable. Like
Hmm.
And
I mean, I
like,
liked him in New England too. I was
yeah,
one of the
I mean,
few
just like,
Broncos fans that did, but
yeah,
I did like him.
and like, yeah,
Like his
Tampa, like,
fire.
he kind of just like was kind of just like this mellow, like funny dude, like
Hmm.
I tend to like him more when he was in Tampa, but
Oh, I got to send you this clip that I saw the other day of some reporter ask going on like a 2 minute question, right? And you know these guys hate like getting these questions that the reporter goes on for like 3 minutes. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
she was asking him about Jalen Hurts. She wasn't even asking him about the game, and she kept going on and on and on about. Oh, Jalen Hurts has done this many quarterback sneaks, and that hasn't happened since you did it like this year, and he's got this many, and she just kept rambling and rambling and naming off all these Jalen Hurts stats, and finally Tom Brady goes, "Sick data." like, why are you talking to me about this right now?
Yeah,
Like, it's that kind of stuff that makes you understand why these guys have such little patience for the media. Like,
yeah.
why are you talking to me about this? Like,
It has nothing to do with me.
right? I know you're lucky that Tom Brady is a more polite guy than I would have been. I'd have got halfway through that question, and before she even finished, I'd have been like, "Next question."
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
here so I don't get fined.
right? So, but yeah, who you got? Who you got in this game we got coming up?
I don't know, bro. It's tough.
I think this is one of the more balanced games going into the Super Bowl that we've had in quite some time. I think it's truly a coin toss. Really do.
Yeah. I mean, the Eagles. Obviously, I know in my division, but Eagles balled out this year and it looked good,
They're the better team.
and Mahomes and the Chiefs just constantly just all season long, like
Right.
the
I
whole
mean,
Tyreek thing, and Mahomes elevated his game, right?
mhm,
He didn't force it to just one receiver anymore, like
right.
and that chemistry he has with Kelsey is just undeniable.
Unmatchable.
Like
It's unmatched.
Kelsey will break off a route that he's not supposed to do
I
because
know.
he knows Mahomes is going to break. Like, what I mean?
I know they do things that again they don't even practice. They just do it.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy watching those two. You're right.
and
Yeah,
so,
so we
but
got the better team going up against the best player in the league. So, and on a good team too. Obviously, I don't think their defense is quite what Philly's defense is, but I think Philly's probably slightly better team. But when you have the best player in the league who's playing quarterback, it's truly a coin toss. So I'll be rooting for the Eagles, obviously. I'm sure you'll be rooting for the Chiefs,
see, that's
obviously.
I don't
So
know, bro. I don't know. I was
you're gonna root for a divisional opponent.
that's what I'm trying. I'm just rooting for the commercials at this point.
Eh, Stud
Because
that
like
you are.
I can't root for the Eagles because of the divisional opponent. Can't root for the Chiefs because all my homies back home. Like, I don't want. We'll never hear the end of that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So I'm just like, at
Yeah.
this
Show
point,
me
just
this,
good halftime show and good
dude.
commercials. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, I heard Chris Stapleton's playing at halftime. That should be interesting. So looking
Really?
forward to that. He's playing with some other big name person. I think it's what Ashanti or something like that. Or oh wait, sorry, it's not 2002. Let me
yeah.
rephrase. I think it's like Beyonce. No, wait a minute, it's not 2012. Who is it? I think it's Rihanna, right?
Rihanna sounds about right.
Yeah, there you go.
Never heard of her.
Never heard of her, my man. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, if we don't watch the commercials, how are we going to know what to buy? Like, how am I going to know what to spend my money on?
Exactly.
Like, should I buy Bud Light or should I keep the power on? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, how would I know? So
what different flavored Doritos are going to come out?
Like, Explosion Ranch. I got to try those. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds fire.
I do want to say one thing though. We're talking about amazing quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, man, just ultimate winner here.
Huge fan.
I mean, huge fan. I love Jalen Hurts. Like what he did at Alabama, what happened to Alabama, went to
and he's
OU,
improved tremendously too.
Balled out at OU,
yeah.
went to the NFL. Was supposed to just be a backup in the NFL.
Right. Third round pick, right?
Second round, I believe.
Second? Okay. I mean, either way, yeah, they weren't expecting him to be the franchise.
Yeah, and just
extremely hard worker too. I don't know if you've ever watched any of his lifting workouts.
Yeah,
this boy can lift, man. Like he gets it in at the gym. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. And again, each year, even as a pro, he gets a little better and a little better and a little better. I like that, man. Like some of these guys, they get their second contract and it's like, okay, I'm kind of going to check out. You know what I mean? Because once you get that second contract, that's when you're in the money. You know what I mean? But this guy, he just keeps getting better and better, and he's motivated by just being great, and I like that. So,
Yeah.
that's that Tom Brady mentality where, I mean, we can't all be married to Giselle where you can take team-friendly contracts, but he's not motivated by money. So he's just going to keep being great, which will lead to big money. So, yeah, huge fan.
What,
Their whole team, honestly, I go back and forth on Nick Sirianni. To be honest, sometimes I'm like, this guy is a piece of work over there, and then I'm like, you know what? I would really love to play for that guy. You know
oh,
what I
bro.
mean? Like, I go back and forth with him. What's your opinion on this guy?
I love his
Do
antics on the
you? Okay.
sidelines, bro. Yeah, I think it's funny. I mean, it's a coach that wants to win. He's a player coach, like, you know what I mean. Like, he's out there just grinding with his boys too, like, and
He's
I
having
love that.
fun.
Like, yeah, he's just having fun. He's
Yeah.
enjoying it. Like,
Well, I mean, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there's going to be some haters, and he does do some things sometimes where like, okay, most coaches wouldn't do that, right? But then at the same time, you're like, I would love to play for this guy. Did you see that clip in the preseason where they were playing the Jets and Jalen Hurts in the preseason was running out of bounds, and some guy for the Jets hit him late in a preseason game?
yeah,
And hit him out of bounds. And if you haven't seen this clip, dude, this is what made me kind of like Nick Sirianni. He threw a temper tantrum on the sideline, and he's screaming across the field at Robert Saleh. He's like, Saleh, what the? That's you know what I'm saying? Like, and
yeah.
he just on the clip. And I'm sitting there, and the first time I saw that clip, I'm like, this dude is a perfect coach for Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
So, I mean, it's kind of two
just tough.
contrasting styles in this game too. You got this kind of flamboyant, up and coming like coach, and then there's Mr. Reed, who's just, I mean, just as
Is he?
consistent and as good as they come. Like,
You think he's one of the best coaches if he wins this one?
uh, yeah, I mean, he has one already, and even if he doesn't win this one, I would say he's a top
About
probably
saying best.
four NFL coach of all time. It's hard to when it comes to coaches to say who's the best of all time. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
is it the chicken or the egg? Like, is it Bill Belichick in his system, or is it Tom Brady, or is it a little bit of both? You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think at this
it's
point
it's
it was
it's
proven
the right
his
combination.
Yeah, but at this point too, I think it's just proven that Tom Brady had a lot to do with that.
Of course he did,
Because
and because it's a player's game. So of course. But if Tom Brady would have been the first player drafted by the Texans back in 2001 or whatever, when David Carr came out, poor David Carr never had a chance. You know what I'm
that's
saying? So like again, there's a little bit of both that goes on, especially in the NFL where you don't even play half the game. You're on the sideline. You know what I mean? In the NBA, the great players are on the floor all the time, but as an NFL player, you sit half the game on the sideline. So again, being part of the right organization and teams and leadership that want to win, it matters. And so yeah, again, it comes down mostly to the players, but good coaching does make an impact in the NFL. It does, it truly does.
crazy though.
I know.
What do you think? Where do you stand? Patrick Mahomes wins. Say the Chiefs win, they win. We're just Patrick Mahomes' legacy right now.
Well, he's the best player in the league right now.
For sure Hall of Famer if he wins on Sunday.
Well, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, win or lose this game, and that's, I mean, all we're talking about now is where he's going to end up on the all-time great. Side note: I'm watching Travis Kelce in the KU locker room right now. Did you just see that? Got the KU game on, and
Yeah,
Travis Kelce giving a little pregame talk. But anyway, I mean, he is already one of the greatest talents of all time, and he is the best player in the league currently. So I mean, that's all I have to say. Whatever happens the rest of his career is just going to add to the legacy. And again, win or lose this game, he's still a young man too. I don't think it's going to impact it that much. I mean, obviously, winning is the ultimate goal, obviously. But I mean, what is this? 3 Super Bowls in 4 years now, and should have been 4 for 4 had they not, given one up to the Bengals. But
that's what I'm saying.
you
Though.
know,
He's
I
impressive.
think he's going to go down as one of the greats when it's all said and done. No question about it.
Yeah, I agree. Like his playoff record, or just his record in general. Like what this man has done in the playoffs, and is amazing. Like 5 consecutive conference championships as a starter. Like
Yeah, he's a
You know what I
beast.
mean?
And
And but the crazy thing is, we talked about expectations. Like, the whole entire conversation this offseason was, the AFC West was gearing up for a battle, Broncos and the Chargers and the Raiders. Like, Kansas City, they were going to take Kansas City down, and Kansas City stayed quiet. They didn't make any noise. They just did their thing. Like,
well, you're right. Most people were saying that. However, I got to give us a shout out because I remember specifically us having a conversation, and that conversation was not just in the division, but in the conference. Until you do it,
yep,
you still have to go through Kansas City, and we said
yep,
that verbatim, and
multiple
here
times.
multiple times, and here we are. So, I mean, look, you know, things can look good on paper, but until we see it out there on the field, for any sport, it doesn't. It's all hearsay. So Kansas City's the cream. I mean, Cincinnati, Buffalo, whatever. Kansas City is at the top of the AFC and has been for about a half a decade now. So that's a long time in NFL years. So yeah, you're gonna have to knock them off. That's period. End of discussion. So
Hmm.
so who do you got?
I don't know. It's tough, dog. So I go with the Eagles, but then they're divisional. So I say Chiefs and deal with all the Chiefs
It's
fans.
not the SATs, Mario. Who you
No,
got?
bro, this is harder than SAT, bro. SAT, I was just filling in bubbles. What I mean? I was just making
Surprised you
smiley
even took it.
faces.
Was it in Spanish or what?
Unfortunately not. If it was, I would have aced it.
Uh,
I
it's almost
I want the
Taquitos.
I want the I want the Eagles to win. But I think Kansas City might. They're just
I'm kind of feeling the same way, to be honest with you. Like, I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles. As obviously, I can't root for the Chiefs as a Broncos fan, although I don't really have any issue with them other than they're a divisional opponent. But if I had to bet money, like if I was in Vegas at the Circa right now at the sports book, I'd be putting money on the Chiefs probably.
yeah.
I haven't seen a line. Have you? Or I don't
I
even
haven't seen a
know
line yet.
what the line is. But um, if I have a hard time betting against certain players, and Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys. So
Patrick
um,
Mahomes proved that to me on conference championship game when he scrambled on his third ankle, like towards the end of the game, like you put it all on your shoulder right there, and that's dog mentality right there.
yeah,
That's really
it is
what
dog
it is.
mentality. He's a
You
football
know,
player.
yep, and like I said, as much as Chiefs fans and all that, like Patrick Mahomes earned my respect. He doesn't need my respect first of all, but like when I saw that, I'm like, this man just wants to win, and
Yep.
he's gonna will his team to a win no matter what. And I just loved it. That's what I want to see out of a player,
Yep.
especially a
They're,
franchise player.
well, they're paying me $500 million, so I guess I better get
Yeah,
out there, make it
yeah.
happen. So, um, yeah, life could be worse. Patrick Mahomes got it going on right now, so good for him. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna obviously, like I said, I'm gonna root for the Eagles, but man, it's just so hard for me to bet against Kansas City. The Eagles have I think the Eagles have a better team though. I honestly do. Their defense is no joke. They can run the football. They have the best offensive line in the league. Okay, those guys up front, led by Jason Kelsey, which, by the way, I think the center position in the NFL is super underrated. I've said that before. I don't know if I've said it on the channel, but a good center is super underrated, in my opinion. So
Uh,
I think they have a great offensive line. They have a great defensive line as well, and they got playmakers on the back end in that secondary. So good receivers too. I mean, real good receivers. So they could win. I just it's hard to bet against 15.
it is. It really is.
So
Yeah, and the Eagles. I mean, they balled out all year. I did see a lot of people chat, like some of the quarterbacks or teams they played were questionable. But you play who you play. I mean, you don't pick
dude,
them.
again, that is such a weak argument. Like I cannot
Yeah,
stand when people make that argument.
yeah,
We don't control the schedule. We play who's put in front of us. So
yep,
kick rocks. Like
exactly. Like,
I mean, that's such a weak argument. Like
but I
let's
mean,
keep
even in the playoffs, like they showed up in the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
they're a good team and they're the creme de la creme in the AFC. So people that say that are just looking for reasons to hate, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, okay, like I'll write that down. So
This may be true or not true. They are where they are.
doesn't matter.
You
Doesn't
know,
matter.
where's our teams right now? You know, my
Right.
team's sitting
Exactly.
watching from home right now. So
Right.
like,
We play in the same division as the Chiefs do, and so we've seen a lot of those same teams,
yeah,
and we only won 5 games. So yeah,
you know,
you could stuff that argument in a sack right now. Like, um, but speaking of, well, it's not a weak schedule anymore, but we thought it was going to be a weak schedule, man. Your NFC East is on the up and up here. Like,
how surprising was that?
I mean, very. We knew that the Cowboys were going to be a playoff team. I think people were kind of, they didn't really expect this out of the Eagles. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
they
think the
expect
Giants and the excuse me, the Giants and the Commanders kind of caught. That was an honest mistake. Giants and the Commanders kind of caught everybody off guard. So Daniel Jones, I'm buying.
really.
You buying or you selling?
It's probably selling.
Really? After the year he just had
Yeah,
and the playoff game that he had, dude, I'm buying. There's not a lot of guys in the world that can do that.
I mean it's true. He didn't.
Led him to
Maybe
what? 9 wins this year too.
under this system. Yeah, I see your argument there.
Well, we just were talking about that, man. A lot of it has to do with coach and player like meshing together. So Brian Dobble did an outstanding job.
He did an amazing job.
Should be in the conversation for coach of the year. So
I think him and was it Peterson from Jacksonville?
also in the conversation. Yep, and then
I think
obviously Nick Sirianni will be in the conversation too.
I think it has to go down to those two. What they did,
Yeah.
took over well below average ball clubs and
Well,
got
we
them to the
started
playoffs.
for sure, and we started to see it kind of happened right in front of our eyes. We started to see Trevor Lawrence kind of take that next step. So it'll be fun to watch him continue to get better because obviously him coming out of college, the expectations were as high as anybody I've ever seen. So I want to see guys do well and continue to work hard. So watching him take that next step was good. And yeah, Doug Peterson did a terrific job with that team, and just with all the drama and nonsense they had last year.
Yeah,
Like to have a guy like that come in and just kind of level the ship, I agree. He should be in the conversation for sure. Um, Speaking of drama queens, uh, what are your thoughts on Kyrie to the Mavs?
I don't know. Part of me wants to like it because we've talked like Luca needs help, right? And he does, and I think Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie's a baller no matter what. Like whether he's toxic in locker rooms or not. At the end of the day, he balls out. But I think at the same time, the Mavs gave up a little bit quite of pieces too just to get him. So
Huge pieces.
you know, and then
So
you're taking two good guys in Luca and Kyrie, right? And the true answer is going to be who's going to take the shot at the buzzer. I mean, clearly is going to be Luca. It's his team. But now you run into the argument because you got two of these great players, like who love having the ball too. So
yeah, so actually, from a basketball standpoint, I think that it actually. I mean, offensively, I think it'll work. Defensively, they've got huge problems. But offensively, Kyrie's actually a very underrated player off the ball. I mean, people forget that when it was the big three, right, in Brooklyn, that James Harden actually ran the point and Kyrie actually played off ball. He gets overlooked on his ability to catch and shoot and catch and pump fake one dribble and just come off screens. He gets overlooked with that because he's such a great ball handler. He might be the greatest ball handler of all time. And so people overlook the fact that he's actually pretty good off the ball. Now, obviously, he's undersized for your prototypical two guard, although nowadays they play positionless basketball. So that's throw that argument out the window. But Kyrie can actually play off the ball a little bit. The question is going to be, can they guard? And then obviously, does Kyrie feel like showing up for work today? I mean,
yeah,
it sounds silly to say, but the dude averages like 40 games a year over the past like 4 or 5 years. So, and he gets injured too. It's not just off the court drama. He has a tendency to get banged up a bit as well. So they
but I'm
gave
gonna
up a
tell you,
lot. You know, they
this is
gave
how
up a
it's gonna
lot.
go. If I'm Mark Cuban or even Luca, Take them Terry Black's, right? Get some barbecue.
Downtown Dallas, baby.
Downtown Dallas, get some barbecue down there at Terry Black's. By the way, no sponsor or anything. They're not sponsoring us to say this.
Well, can we just say real quick before you go on that that's maybe the best barbecue I've ever had? Shout out to Terry Black's.
Yeah.
Downtown. The original is not in downtown. It's in some like small town in Texas, but they have like that big location downtown, and that is maybe the best barbecue I've ever had.
Amen. I agree with that.
Go on.
But like I said, they're not sponsoring us. If they want to, we're open to a conversation.
I would love to be sponsored by Terry Black. I put on 30 pounds, but
yeah, I think you take them down there, just have a conversation with them, over some good old Texas brisket and mac and cheese.
Oh, boy, you're making me hungry.
And some ribs, and that's how you get them to show up to work,
Oh, bro, that Italian sausage they have there too.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Just want to go back.
Oh man, we should take a trip to Dallas, catch a Mavs game. Well, I'm actually going to the Nuggets Mavs game, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. So I'm hoping Luka is going to be healthy. Yeah, me and my old man are going. So it'll be fun to watch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But what's up?
So I ask you with the Nuggets now, first place.
They're the best team in the league.
Is it conference finals or bust or championship or bust?
They've never been to the championship, so I'm saying if it's either get to the finals, because they are clearly undebatable the best team in the West, undebatable. And I've watched them a lot, and I know the game, and I think they're the best team in the league. I've seen the power rankings; those are BS because Denver teams always get shafted in ESPN power rankings because no media love. They're better than the Celtics. I mean, they're way better than the Celtics. Celtics have nobody on the inside that can contain Nikola. I mean, it's easy for Nikola against the Celtics. They're better than the Sixers. I know everybody's going to say, well, the Sixers just doesn't matter. Okay, Nuggets were up 15.5 in that game, and what ended up happening was Joel Embiid took it personally with the whole Jokic and Embiid matchup, and he did what great players can do, and he elevated his team to win that game. But the Nuggets have a better team than the Sixers.
And I want to echo that real quick. Last night's game, right? Nuggets, Jokic and Jamal. You have 4 players, right? And you can tell what happens when you don't have your key guy there, right?
Right.
And no, nothing bad against the Nuggets or anything, and the young guys that played last night. But you could tell, right? You do that with Embiid. One, I mean, it happens constantly because he doesn't stay healthy. But you have James Harden there. James Harden's gonna pick up that load. Jokic is just that presence, and I've always said for my MVP, I don't always base MVP off of just pure skill and this guy's the absolute best player. I always view my MVP as the best player on that team. You take him away, what's that team look like? And take that with the Steph Curry argument. You take Steph Curry off the Warriors. At the time, a healthy Clay and Draymond, they were still balling out. And then when they had KD, Jokic, you take him off the team, and you saw last night,
I don't know how you don't give him the MVP again. The dude's averaging a triple-double as a 7-foot slow white center. So, I mean, how do you not give him the MVP again? And like I said, they're the best team in the league. This is the best chance the Nuggets have ever had to win a championship. The only team that I'm seeing that's going to give the Nuggets issues is the Bucks, and that's because Giannis is a freak, and they got a lot of really good role players, and Jrue Holiday can lead, and Budenholzer's been around. They have a good team in Milwaukee. They always have, or not always, but since Giannis has been doing his thing, they've been a contender, and they're the only team that I see that can give the Nuggets fits in a 7-game series. Celtics aren't doing it. In fact, I think that's a sweep for the Nuggets. I was at the Nuggets Celtics game when the rim was bent. And again, the Celtics just can't. I mean, there is no one on that team that can even come close to guarding Jokic, right? At least Embiid and Giannis can make it difficult for him at times, and Brook Lopez. But the Celtics have nobody in the middle right now. So I think that's a sweep for the Nuggets. I think against the Sixers, they'd probably win in 5 or 6 because they're just a better all-around team. They have really good role players that play really well off Nikola. I mean, Bruce Brown cutting to the rim, Michael Porter Jr. spotting up for open threes, Jamal Murray is playing at an all-star level, probably should have been an all-star given how good their team is, and Jaren Jackson Jr., how he got the all-star nod is beyond me. over Anthony Edwards and Jamal Murray. I think Anthony Edwards will probably end up taking Steph Curry's spot because I saw he just got hurt, and Anthony Edwards deserves it. 27 a game, and they're a top 6 team in the West, and he wasn't an all-star. Figure that one out. Anyway, and by the way, you talked about James Harden. He should have been an all-star too. James Harden, we have to give him his due because we've bashed on him a little. We've bashed him a little on this channel in the past, but he has changed his game around, and he's playing winning basketball for the Sixers, averaging 21 and 11. He's not forcing shots, and he's playing good team basketball, and he's making winning plays, and still averaging 21 and 11. Should have been an all-star. So, but anyway, I think the Nuggets are the best team in the league, and I think Jokic deserves the MVP. I'm not even saying that as a bias. I think based on what I've seen, I don't know how you don't give it to Nikola. And no, I don't think it's championship or bust, but I think it's winning the Western Conference or bust. Because again, the Nuggets have never even been to the finals, let alone won it. So I think, and what I've seen based on the West, they should win the West. Although when you look at how it's kind of stacking up right now, what is being the number one team in the West going to get you? It's going to get you either the Warriors, right? It's going to get you maybe the Lakers, maybe the Clippers. So I'm not sure being the number one team in the West this year is just, a surefire ride to the Western Conference Finals, but it is what it is. So
next year, my Thunder are going to be there, dog.
Yo, I've texted you this probably 6 or 7 times throughout the past couple of years. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a bucket, and he's cat quick at 6'6" and can get anywhere he wants to on the floor, and he just knows how to score. I bet that guy is tough in a pickup game. I bet he is tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and again, they don't even have Chet Holmgren playing this year. So the Thunder are on the right track, my friend. Still just draft picks out the wazoo. So
I know it's crazy because technically it's supposed to be like, a tanking year, and these guys just keep on winning.
Good basketball, playing good basketball. They have a really good player leading the way too. I'm a huge Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fan, and he shoots he gets to the line 10 times a game, and he shoots 90%. Dude, that kid can play. I like him a lot, and I've texted you that multiple times over the last few years. So that's a win on that trade, getting rid of Paul George for that young man. Good for him, and he's on his way to his first All-Star game as well. Yep. So that boy. What's he, 4th or 5th in the league in scoring right now? That boy, he's a bucket, man. That boy can play. Josh Giddey, also a really good player, needs to work on his shooting, but does a lot of the little things really well. So, yeah, Thunder on their way. Definitely on their way. So
that's next year, Doug.
Yeah, and they're going to get another decent draft pick. Whose picks do you have right now other than your own?
I don't know, but I know last mock draft, we're sitting 5th right now. And it's not
overall
our pick.
In the draft?
Yeah.
So you have somebody else's pick.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, I don't know whose it is, but
yeah, I mean you got
we got half the leagues. We got half the leagues.
I know, 15 picks over the next 4 years or something crazy.
Sam Presti's the GOAT, dog.
He's no joke for sure, and he's been doing that a while now. It's crazy to think, but he's been there a minute. So, he's that man knows what he's doing for sure. You got a good one leading the way there. So, Final thoughts?
Something for a good Super Bowl. In the best case scenario, just ends in a tie. We all get ribbons. Chiefs don't win, Eagles don't win.
I wonder what the odds are in Vegas of the game ending in a tie.
No, I don't know what has to happen. What's happened?
I might put a $5 bet on that. Just you never know. Maybe.
I just want that Buffalo Wild Wings commercial moment, something just happens.
I don't want to say it because that's not a funny joke, but something along the lines of having to suspend the game for whatever reason. But if you put a $5 bet on that with whatever the odds would be, whew, man,
you probably make bank.
You're gonna see a return on that for sure.
Yeah, you would definitely make money. No, honestly, just a great football game. That's all I asked for. Last game of the year, Actually, I was going to ask you this, and we're back on football. What did you think about the Pro Bowl?
I didn't watch hardly any of it.
Wow.
Although I heard it was kind of fun, to be honest with you, based on what I read. But I watched it for 30 seconds. It was an interview with Peyton Manning, which I had to finish, because that's the homie. And then some rapper who I'd never even heard of came on and started, I guess, rapping. It sounded pretty ridiculous. I don't even know who it was. And I was like, yeah, that's enough of that. So
Yeah,
But
I thought
actually,
that was,
I heard the players really liked it.
the
So
players really liked it. I thought the skills challenge was kind of cool. You know,
yeah, I didn't watch any of it. So
they brought some really cool challenges. I thought it was kind of interesting. I like how they revamped it. The flag football is still kind of iffy to get used to, but
well, these
I
guys
thought it
aren't
was
going to
fun
hit it.
though.
They're not going to hit each other. So
Yeah, I think it was kind of cool just to revamp that.
yeah.
Um, but that was just a side note there. Yeah, I mean, last football game of the year. Just hope it's a good one. Hope for good commercials. Hope for
Always.
good wings and a food coma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get some Terry Blacks to go or what?
Tell Terry Black
Fly
to
it in
go.
from Dallas,
Yeah,
like your Post Malone or something.
if they hear this in time,
Right.
they could use some ribs out here.
Yo, Terry Blacks. Hey, we're always down for that sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to pay us. We'll just do it for free barbecue. You
Yeah,
feel me? So,
yeah.
yeah, probably watch the second half of this KU game. Your boys are looking okay right now. They've been kind of hard to figure out this year. Well, it's not that they've been hard to figure out. Let me rephrase. They've just kind of been their role players have been very inconsistent, right? You
Yeah.
got maybe the best player in the Big 12. You got Grady Dick, who's going to be a first round pick. Every draft board I've seen has him going in the top 15. He's a 6'8" two guard. He's perfect for the NBA, right? 3-and-D. He's a good athlete too. He'll get up and block some shots and throw it
Yeah,
down in your face.
eyes blocks.
Speaking of which, there he is on the fast break right now, getting an easy layup. But KU, man, they don't. Other than those two guys, they don't have anybody else to put the ball in the hole consistently.
We're missing like a Remy Martin and a big guy down low.
For sure.
As much as I
being weak at the point guard and the center position is not a good place to be in college basketball.
As much as Azubuike, what the hell's the name? McCormick made me mad.
He would help this team.
Oh, bro, he would help this team so much.
He would help this team.
What I do to have him back,
Uh-huh. And DeJuan Harris, man, he's one of the most inconsistent. I mean, I've talked to you about this before. When you look at the list of Kansas point guards over the years, I mean, even going back to Roy Williams days, right? And then obviously Bill Self coming in. We're talking, I mean, even before, well, I mean, was Roy Williams the coach when Jacques Vaughn was there? But anyway, doesn't matter. You're talking about a list of guys that is, I mean, I just go down the list. Jacques Vaughn, Kirk Heinrich, Keith Langford, Aaron Miles, right? You got Frank Mason, you got Sharon Collins, Mario Chalmers, who am I missing right now? Tyson Taylor, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go down the list, you got some guys that can straight up ball. And then DeJuan Harris, I mean, he's a very below average starting point guard for KU.
I just think his game is different than what we're used to, right? And he's more in the sense of a point guard where it's just truly just you're just there to run the offense and assist, right? Because this man has great court vision. A lot of his assists is amazing. His shot selection is not the best. He's a great defender. Well, I'm gonna say great, but he's definitely a pretty good defender.
He's good.
But yeah, and his shot making is obviously it's lacking there. But I think I don't agree in the sense of what you're saying because I think his game is completely different than what we've asked our guards to be and what we're used our guards to be, right? This man is just strictly coming. You're just running the offense, right? And there's games where this man can hit 4 3-point shots, and there's games when he's going to airball 10 of them.
Well, it hurts him at times. I mean, you're right. He doesn't play the same style as some of the guys that we mentioned, but it hurts them at times.
And exactly that's what we're missing. We're missing because we're used to having a guard that can at least, give us some buckets too, as well as dish out the ball. Like I said, Remy Martin was amazing in March Madness, and without Remy Martin in that tournament, we don't win a championship.
100%.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy to think. And Bill Self said it great. Like, all regular season last year, like he was so inconsistent. He was hurt. And remember, it was just like wait until we get to March. Like, wait until you get to March.
You got him for one reason.
And he proved in March, like he balled out, and
yes,
that's
did.
what the team is kind of missing right now. And a down low presence. KJ Adams is amazing. He's super athletic.
Very. I heard he was a lacrosse player.
Was he? I didn't know that.
I mean, in high school or something. That's what they said a few games back. But anyway,
but athleticism going against true big guys, it only goes so far.
Yeah.
You're going to have some great dunks and some rebounds, but when you're going against true bigs, especially college bigs, It's not about it. You're always going to
Well,
win.
it's the year of the big man in college basketball too. Like
Yep.
some of the best players in the country are big men. So yeah. Well,
But
anyway,
I don't doubt Bill Self. We
never.
got a couple months ago, so
Now that Coach K's gone, I truly believe he's the best coach in the country. So I
well,
think he
he's
should.
always been the best coach.
I think he should be a candidate for the USA job if he wants it. Honestly. So yeah, I'm a huge Bill Self fan. So well, anyway, brother, I'm gonna let you enjoy the second half. I'm gonna enjoy it myself, and always good talking to you.
Always.
And just want to say that I missed you. Not to get all sentimental on you, but and we always want to hear what people have to say. So shoot us a comment, leave us a like. You know what to do. Catch you guys next time.